opening week from Saratoga wraps up with the Caress, our feature. The defending champ returns, but it's Mississippi Delta who comes in off an impressive Grade 3 win. We'll also look back at a dramatic finish in the Coaching Club American Oaks as Mike Smith provided a perfect ride to deliver Abel Tasman another Grade 1 victory. It's all next on Saratoga Live. Monday's feature, the Caress, where Mississippi Delta enters off a Grade 3 win in Belmont. Will she be as effective, shortening up in distance to 5.5 furlongs? Meanwhile, Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGahee is hoping Fairpoint's third start of the year gets her back to her winning ways. Jose Ortiz will be aboard, and Abel Tasman got all she could handle from a late in the Coaching Club American Oaks. We'll look back at her gutsy performance and Mike Smith's riding tactics that delivered a third consecutive Grade 1 win. Welcome to Saratoga Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Great to be with you on this Monday afternoon. We're 22 minutes away from race 7. Ahead, I think you'll be able to see us here in this shot. We're up on the roof. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met and Los Angeles Dodger. The backstop, Paul LaDuca, good to have you here again as we get set for a feature race. We mentioned the defending champion back in the race this year, Miss Ella. That was a win, though, on a race that was taken off the turf last year. We'll see if she's as effective on the grass against a wide-open cast in this year's edition.
Yeah, so 9 fillies and mares, a couple scratches out of the race, but I think a very contentious race. Where does the pace lie? You mentioned in the open about Mississippi Delta. She runs her races upside down. You're going to see her late. She's going to be flying late. But is the 5.5 furlongs too short? Is she going to get pace to run into? Wesley Ward usually always has a runner in here. He has Ruby Notion. And then Fairpoint on the outside. You make a great point about Fairpoint. Got a big shot. And if you look at that mare's record, pretty good from outside slots for the Hall of Famer, Shug McGahee.
She has a devastating late kick. She needs clear sailing, though, and a little help to be able to run down the lane. But if she gets clear sailing, she could be awfully tough. Play along from home. You can bet the action by opening a Naira Bets wagering account. Sign up, bet 200. You'll get 200 in your account. It's as easy as that. Use the promo code PIG5 to take advantage. Remember, you can get signed up and started with Naira Bets all across the country, nationwide. So go to nairabets.com to get started. The Caress, there's a quick look at the field for the feature. Miss Ella is the defending champ for Graham Motion, but 2 tries on the Saratoga turf. That race last year was washed off. 2 seconds yet to win. Has run well over it, however, with more on the feature. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, yes, Miss Ella will try to defend her Caress Stakes victory, this time on the grass, though. But the grass today, the turf course, is labeled as good. So it's got a little bit of moisture in it. Yes, the courses did need it. But you kind of want to look and focus in on horses who have shown they can handle horses that are labeled good or yielding. And one of those is, as you guys were saying, Mississippi Delta. Distance is truly a question. She has yet to win a race anything less than 6.5 furlongs. Another filly, though, that has some success over courses with Given It with a little moisture is a bit of a long shot here. In 3 starts ago, she took down the Very One Stakes. That is Everything Lovely. As far as her 4 tries on courses that were labeled anything worse than firm, she has had 4 starts, a win in 2 seconds. So she might have an outsider's chance given the turf course condition today as good for the Caress Stakes, Greg.
Yeah, interesting long shot there, who's 12-1 on the morning line. Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard there and comes in with some pretty strong form as well. And she'll be forwardly placed in that race.
Yeah, she's a very honest mare. You know, 18 for 22 in the trifecta, 6 wins, 7 seconds. And she's very tactical, too. She can show some speed early.
The rest of our crew downstairs as well, not far away from Maggie. New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling and racing analyst Gabby Gaudet. How are you two?
We're doing well. And he's no longer on the roof, so things are a lot better down here, actually, by the paddock studio. Gabby, how are you today?
I
like both locations, but happy to be joined with you here on the paddock set. We get closer to the action. We get closer to the horses and the flesh. So we're going to have a great show on tap today. I'm excited to get to it.
Yeah, and I think Maggie was pretty much hitting the nail on the head when it comes to the caress. You have to deal with the turf condition because we take a lot of races off the turf. You get some rain. But these courses, and Maggie alluded to it, they're pristine. We've only run on them for 3 days. So the rain probably won't be a major factor here. We'll see how much it plays into it. I think the question with the Intercontinental winner, the Mississippi Delta, is she going to be as effective going the 5.5 furlongs, Gabby?
It's a good question. And, Andy, one thing that you have to pay attention to are some of the scratches, right? We had Ela scratch out of here. We had Blue Bahia scratch out and Animal Appeal. Those 3 fillies seem to be the 3 main speeds, so that's also going to hurt Mississippi Delta.
Yeah, it is. It's going to change the run of the race, and it's actually going to help the one down on the rail. Though Everything Lovely still has some speed. We'll see. I think the course condition may make it a more fairly run race. We'll see how things play out. We'll see, Greg.
All right, Gabby, I know you can't say it. You're sitting next to Andy, so we'll say it for you. We know you miss it up here, and you'd rather be upstairs.
We actually miss you, too.
Yeah, we do, too.
Yeah.
All right, race 7 is what we're going to start with. 1 1/8. It's on the main track, and you see the John Deere track conditions, muddy and sealed on the main track. In the Caress, the only race that does remain on the grass, that's race 8. That'll be on the melon turf and has a little bit of give in the turf today with the rain we got earlier listed as good. Race 7 again kicks us off on the main at 1 1/8, and then the nightcap, race 9. That was scheduled for the grass now main track, 5.5 furlongs, New York bred maiden special weight, and a bunch of first-time starters, Paul.
Yeah, we'll get down to Andy in a little bit because I want to get his opinion. This racetrack, you have to have some races under your belt. It seems like, I don't know if it's a tiring racetrack, but it's a slow racetrack. So I would look towards horses that do have some fitness underneath them. And you look at this race, 1 1/8, and you got about 17 minutes to go to NYRA.com to get your wagers in. Spanish Harlem's the tricky one, right? The one won by 30 lengths in this conditions, but it was a 3-horse field.
Exactly.
I love to look at the comment line, though. The second-place horse was 48.5 lengths clear of the third-place runner.
But you don't know how much does an off-track move this horse up.
True.
So interesting right now, that horse, Spanish Harlem, the 1, is your favorite. Yesterday, the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 at Saratoga returned $59,233 for a 50-cent wager, an incredible value. And you want to get down on this. If you were the only winning ticket and you play it through NYRABets.com, $100,000 single winner guarantee. And the only way to play it if you reside outside the state of New York is with Naira Bets, where you can get signed up and started across the country. So that Late Pick 5, of course, each and every day, a tremendous play. Send it back down to the paddock and get Maggie's thoughts on the field here for race 7.
And checking in with some new faces, at least 2 New York here, including one from, South America, the Argentinian bred. That is number 2, Blue Prize in here. Very forward and very much on the muscle. Now, she was left far behind in that first race at Churchill Downs. She got away just very slowly. She was a bit ring rusty, I suppose, getting out of the gates. Now, we'll see if she's a sharper filly from the same exact post position that she was in that Churchill race. That she certainly is indicating to me that she will be. I mean, she has just been tugging her groom around this paddock. She's gotten a little bit on the warm side. So another one that we'll pay attention to, just slightly on the warm side, I should say, but still would like to pay attention to her out on the track. She does look good in the flesh, and she looks very, very fit with that one start coming second off of the layoff. Next, another new face is number 4, Josephine's Moment. This is a good-looking daughter of City Zip here for Robertino Diodoro, and she has a little bit of early speed as well, and I just like what I'm seeing from her as she comes in from out of town for the first time here in New York. Most of her races have been primarily on the West Coast, but she did look good in winning that allowance race at Parks. We'll see what kind of competition she faced, but still she looks up for the task here. And then one that has an affinity for the spa in between those 2 is number 3, JC's Shooting Star. Yes, maybe her form isn't quite as good as it's been in years past, but as I said, she likes it up here. She looks tremendous for trainer Dave Donk, and I have no problem with her getting the 2-turn 1 1/8 today. She will be a decent price here in race number 7. Andy, do you have any prices to look at?
Well, I don't know. It's hard. Maggie, I think one of the things that's most important to talk about in this race, before we talk about the actual horses, is the racetrack. The track has been somewhat tilted, Gabby, towards inside speed throughout the meet, and I think it's been somewhat exaggerated today. And I think you want to spend most of your time on the rail. The good news for the 2 Blue Prizes, even though she doesn't have much speed, and she'll probably break more sharply today, she can at least save ground until she has to do a rally in the stretch.
Exactly. I can't foresee her being as far back as she was first time out. And honestly, I thought she came out of a really good race because I thought that the pace held together pretty well, and she just tried to lasso the winner, couldn't get up in time. I can see her with a little bit of a better break today. I could see her liking this track. I think she's the horse to beat.
Yeah, she's, we'll see, because one of the things that will help her is the 5 Jewels in Rome is a projected speed, and I don't see her holding on. She's the 2-horse Blue Prize. You see the start. She just gets completely left. She breaks about 3/4 length to length slow, and she takes herself out of the race. Sometimes when they get left, they do that. I think we may pick the race up again top of the stretch, and you'll see her put a nice run in. Even if you think it's a sort of a speed-friendly pace on paper, if you don't like Jewels in Rome, and I don't, and she's the speed, it can only help Blue Prize.
I agree, and you were mentioning her kind of tardy break in her first time in North America. You never, after that happens from the get-go, you never want to rush a horse kind of off their feet. You want to be able to get them to settle in the early part of the race and kind of naturally pick up the pace after that, and that's what I saw from the ride by James Graham last time out on Blue Prize. But like I said, she's not going to be that far back today.
Well, we'll see how it works out. I think it depends how quickly they go up front. And her trainer, Nacho Correas, you're not familiar with him, used to train for Sagamore. He does a terrific job. The one Spanish Harlem. Now, Paul was joking about that 30-length win. She was the overlay of the century when she was actually second choice that day and paid $420. She should have paid $220. I actually think her Mother Goose, when she was beaten under 20 lengths by Unchained Melody, who may be one of the best 3-year-olds in the country, was actually a fine effort. And her trainer, Danny Gargan, is just, his horses are running lights out.
They are. And I would have to agree with you. I thought her Mother Goose, even though she was beaten almost 20 lengths, well, she tried to run with Unchained Melody. I mean, she's not going to do that. You're not going to have success in doing that. So this is a much better spot for her. But do you get the feeling that she's being bet for the wrong reasons, that she might be dressed up by that sloppy sealed performance?
Yes and no. I don't think she's bet for the wrong reasons, because I think she's a very logical horse in this race. But that 30-length win, I think, may confuse some people. She's a good horse, though. I'm going to box 127 in here. We have this great contest going on the website that I hope people are taking advantage of, and there are exacta boxes on today, so I'll make a 127 box in here. And the 7 Furiously Kissed, the one that I'm going to use with the 2 inside horses. It's interesting. I think she looks like a horse on paper that is really going to benefit from the stretch out second off a layoff, Gabby.
I agree, and here's my exacta box. I'm actually going to be tossing both Spanish Harlem. Sometimes one sloppy track to the next doesn't always translate. I'm also going to be tossing Jewels in Rome. At least we do agree about that. I do think she's going to be the speed of the speed, but on paper, I think Blue Prize is going to be the horse to beat. Also, we'll be using the 6 Winner's Dream and the 7 Furiously Kissed.
Yeah, I mean, Furiously Kissed, to get to it. A Winner's Dream is dangerous only because her trainer is 6 for 9 with 2 seconds in the month of July. Furiously Kissed, I think she's interesting. Her trainer, Ian Wilkes, is a terrific trainer, and of course won the Breeders' Cup Classic a few years ago. His numbers stretching out second off a layoff, he's just 2 for 46.
Bad. I saw the same
Shocking
thing.
number. For a guy who's good with stretch outs, I guess just doesn't seem to work.
Well, clearly this filly wants to stretch out, too, so that's going to help her, but those stats I thought were a little bit dubious.
Let's head upstairs to Greg Wolf.
Post-parade coming up here for race 7 as we hear the call to post behind us. And yeah, they were mentioning that 7 Paul Furiously Kissed as we take a look at your ticket, and that's a horse we know is probably going to be flying late.
Well, I'm going to use the 6, the Paz Runner. And if you look at the 4 and the 6, the 4 is the overlay, right? The people are betting the trainer, Horacio de Paz in Sagamore, who's had 2 winners already. He had 1 win off the screen on the turf yesterday. But you could argue that Josephine's Moments, the 4, her race was way better at Park. So we're all going to throw out the 5 in here, Jewels in Rome. We all agree that that's the horse that maybe is the horse you should stay away from.
Who actually owns a victory on a wet track, by the way. We start with Blue Prize for Ignacio Correas and Joel Rosario aboard. Second start in the States.
Ignacio Correas, a native of Argentina, sends out this Argentinian I think is the horse to beat.
JC's shooting star Manny Franco rides for trainer David Donk.
She can handle a wet track. Her 2017 form, though, has not been as good as her earlier years.
M&M Racing's Josephine's Moment, trained by Robertino Diodoro with Angel Arroyo aboard.
Comes off 4 straight victories, but can she handle the distance?
Gary Contessa trains Jules in Rome for Hot Scott Racing Stables with Javier Castellano.
Javier is going to send this one to the front. Maybe the track will carry her, but her recent form, especially since the claim, has not been good.
And jockey Ricardo Santana Jr. won 3 in a row yesterday. Teams up with Sagamore Farm and Horacio de Paz.
Ricardo Santana and Horacio de Paz both have been having a phenomenal start to the meet. This filly comes in with bullet workouts.
And Anita Collione's Furiously Kissed, trained by Ian Wilkes. Julian Leperoux in the irons.
She's going to need the pace to collapse, as she has no speed and will be coming from way back.
And the filly won by 30 in the slop for Midwest Thoroughbreds, trained by Danny Gargan. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard Spanish Harlem.
I think she's a second or third tier talented 3-year-old filly. Irad Ortiz, never leave the rail until you have to in mid-stretch.
3-1 on Spanish Harlem here on this Monday afternoon at Saratoga. We'll have the 7th for you when we come back from a short timeout. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 Mile at Keeneland. Then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. With a pedigree free of Mr. Prospector in the first 4 generations, Data Link is the perfect outcross option. His first weanlings turned heads, selling well above the stud fee. Data Link at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. Good to have you with us on this Monday afternoon as we get set for Race 7 coming up. The Saratoga Showdown, it is a free online game. It continues today, allowing fans to play against each other and win prizes, including a chance to win a prize package to next year's Belmont Stakes. Today's game, an exacta contest. Prizes offered to the highest mythical bankroll after each race. You can go to SaratogaShowdown.com or Naira.com to enter. Should we show who did best yesterday, at least among the analysts on the show?
Are you patting yourself on the shoulder already?
That's right. I did finish best among everybody.
Your trophy's in the mail.
It's a new day, though. That's a great thing about racing. Let's get downstairs to Maggie.
Unfortunately, Greg, I didn't play, so I guess I was a non-starter in the contest. I got to get in on the action, though, next time. Hopefully take you down as far as the analysts are concerned. But taking a look at a hot rider-trainer combination, that's number 6 in here. Winner's Dream. Horacio de Paz is on a tour de force for 2017, and Saratoga has been no different for him. We saw a long price winner on our show yesterday, and Winner's Dream, while she did run well over the turf course at Laurel last time out, we are having a sloppy steel track here, and like I've always said, sometimes those horses that appreciate a turf course will like a main track like this as well. she probably looked as though she was one of the best in the field physically, as far as a way a horse is training into a race. Really loved her overall appearance in the paddock. She just doesn't look quite as fast as some of these on here. Maybe she's up to the task today. But back to your current favorite, that's number 2, Blue Prize. Was talking to Nacho Correas before we walked out here about his filly, and he was hoping actually to enter her on the turf just because they offer those turf races at a longer distance. He feels as though that the longer this filly goes, the better she will become. Mile and 1/8 here, it seems to suit her though overall, and he feels as though she's much sharper and has gate schooled her, so feeling as though that she should break with the pack this time around. So I mean, that bodes well, and as you, Andy and Gabby were saying, I think we'll see her much more forwardly placed.
Yeah, well, hopefully she breaks. I mean, that's the start is going to be very important in this race. And by the way, I think we have a nickname for Greg, Needy.
Poor Greg. He you know,
he just
he did a
needs
good job
love.
yesterday,
Needs
and
love.
he needed to tell everybody about it.
He clearly needed, whether or not he did a good job, he clearly needed to tell everybody about it.
I was 26th. I mean, that's not really something
Did better
to
than
brag
I
about.
did. Josephine's Moment, the 4 for Robertino Diodoro. I'm going to be really interested to see how he does this meet. I mean, he came to New York, and we've talked about this for the first time. He's a trainer, has an excellent record out of town, had a fabulous Belmont. Now, his horses have run fine here so far, but they haven't won. And I'm wondering when he's going to get his first winner, because it's not always so easy to win in Saratoga.
It isn't. I mean, if you even look at Robertino Diodoro's stats with winners last out on the dirt, good. We can see right now, actually, the 6 winners' dream, the rider Ricardo Santana, has hopped off of her right now.
Yeah, I don't. They looked like they were working on the bit of the horse. I can't really tell. I don't know. Is Maggie close enough to be able to see this horse?
I think they're readjusting
and
the saddle.
Yes, I'm here, Andy. Just a readjustment on the saddle here with Winner's Dream, and it looks as though it's nothing out of the ordinary. We typically see this. The gate crew, they are the best. They can do this in a jam and very quickly. So she's handling it fine out here. Shouldn't be too much longer, just readjusting that overgirth as well.
While we're taking a look at her, let's talk about Winner's Dream. To me, she's not fast enough to win this race. She does figure to be in a reasonable position forwardly placed behind Jules and Rome. At the end of the day, though, Horatio De Paz's horses are running through walls. He started 9 horses in July. He's got 6 winners and 2 seconds. And he's winning with horses here that don't make a lot of sense. So I'm not
Ginger and Rye yesterday. She
made no sense on paper.
She was a distance horse on turf, and they cut her back off of a layoff, and she won going 5.5.
And had speed. Suddenly she found herself near the pace. So his horses are not running their PPs. They're badly outrunning their PPs. And for that reason, I think you may consider her dangerous.
And over the past 6 months, Horacio De Paz has been winning at 39%. And this filly is coming into the race with 2 bullet workouts, and she did improve in her turf race last time out.
He might be the only guy hotter than Greg Wolf.
I disagree with them a little bit. I thought those horses that did win for him the other day did make some sense in those races.
Well, you know, the horse that won yesterday that backed up in distance to 5.5 furlongs, I think Horatio had time to, you know, that horse was off the layoff. Now with Winner's Dream, his numbers are insane. Turf to dirt, wherever you want to go. Turf to dirt, he's almost 50%, 4 of his last 7. You see, I land on the one in here, Spanish Harlem. I just think the Danny Gargan horses have been running great. He already has a win on the card. He's looking for a double. If you looked at the 2 hottest trainers in this race, they are the 1 and the 6. They are the 2 horses that are somewhat getting bet, but Nacho's horse, Ignacio Correas, the 2, now just click down to 6 to 5.
And what about, we haven't talked about Josephine's Moment. Here's a horse who has won 4 in a row, has done it with 3 different trainers over the last 4 starts, was 3-1 morning line, and now 8-1 on the board. I mean, this horse is dead cold right now.
Got to give Robertino Diodoro a little bit of credit. A man that started at Turf Paradise to Canterbury, started going his horses to Oaklawn Park, then he went to Keeneland, and now here at Saratoga. He obviously made a splash at Belmont. He's making a splash everywhere. He's going to get his first win sooner or later, and how can he knock a horse that's looking for 5 in a row?
Yeah, and one of those wins, by the way, was on a wet, fast track at Santa Anita. Now, look, we know no 2 wet tracks are the same, but still has a huge Tomlinson for an off track and has proven that she can win on the off-going as well.
She beat some weaker mares in Lob City and Warren's Gin Fizz. I do get that. She's got to step up a little bit in here. The Parks form has been a little bit rocky so far early in the meet.
Late money on the 2 Blue Prize. Second start in the States. She needs a much better break, you would think, here this afternoon from her debut. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
Here's Furiously Kissed and Julian Leparoux coming up to the outside stall to complete the line. steps forward and in. They're all in line. They're off. Josephine's Moment fires out of there in company with Spanish Harlem and Jules in Rome, and Winner's Dream make it 4 across the track racing for that turn. And then a break of another 2 back to JC Shooting Star, 5th behind them. The trailers are Blue Prize and Furiously Kissed. They race on the first turn with Spanish Harlem and Josephine's Moment setting the pace. These two go by the opening quarter mile onto the backstretch in 24.03 seconds, and Jules in Rome joins them 3 wide. JC Shooting Star and Winner's Dreamer together just in behind the pace setters as they straighten onto the backstretch. It's another 5 lengths more back to Blue Prize, while Furiously Kissed has been outrun early on. Up the backstretch, Josephine's Moment and Jules in Rome have taken over. Spanish Harlem has dropped off, joined on the inside by JC Shooting Star, who's now right alongside of her, and Winner's Dream is 5th through a 48.96 half mile. Blue Prize and Joel Rosario still about 7 lengths behind with a half mile to go. And last of them all is Furiously Kissed. Around the far turn, Josephine's Moment continues to lead the way to Jules in Rome. Spanish Harlem has been taken to the outside and now re-attacks, and the 3 of them are across the track. JC Shooting Star behind them, Blue Prize now under a ride, 4 lengths off the lead, and then it's Winner's Dream and Furiously Kissed. 3/4, 114.41, they're coming to the quarter pole. Josephine's Moment turns for home with the lead. Jules in Rome on the outside. Furiously Kissed has made a strong bid and has come up the rail from the back of the pack. Farther out, Spanish Harlem and JC Shooting Star. Furiously Kissed from dead last takes the lead as they come to the 16th pole. JC Shooting Star, Spanish Harlem, and Blue Prize behind her. Furiously Kissed and Julian Le Paru pulling away by 3.5. Blue Prize got second, JC Shooting Star third, and Spanish Harlem in 1 minute 53.91 seconds.
Furiously Kissed from off the pace, and Julian Leperoux for Ian Wilkes takes race 7.
Oddly run race here. Irad Ortiz Jr. had the lead on Spanish Harlem, took back and went way to the outside of the racetrack. Nobody wanted any part of the inside except Julian Leperoux and the Ian Wilkes runner. Furiously Kissed, good call by Andy, 6-1, and I mean, the Red Seas opened up.
Well, shortest way around the racetrack can often be the best, Andy.
Yeah, you know, this was a great ride by Julian Leperoux, really paying attention to the racetrack, Abby. And look, I love Irad Ortiz, both personally as a rider, but one fault of Irad's is that he often thinks he's always riding at Belmont.
Well, look, we're taking a look at the back stretch here, and we can actually
He's green
see
horse, in green.
In green, in the Midwest Thoroughbred Silks, you see the green and black goes from about the 2 path all the way to the outside, and it looked like Irad really wanted to stay off the rail, but it kind of figured that that was the place to be.
I totally agree. He was handed a gift by drawing the rail. He got good position. Just wait inside has been the place to be. And yes, on a track like Belmont, that's a good move. You like to be stalking on the outside, but you have a rail like this, and saving ground is at such a premium at Saratoga, and the rail is strong. He gave up a real advantage to lose a lot of ground and get into a worse part of the racetrack. I'm not saying the one would have won, but this was not a good ride by Irad.
Well, look at this too, Andy. We saw the 2, Blue Prize. She was out in the middle of the racetrack. Joel Rosario actually takes her to the inside, and she winds up out finishing Spanish Harlem and JC Shooting Star. So that just goes to show you want to be closer to the rail.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know if you disagree, but it just seemed like the rail played a huge role in this race.
Yeah, it absolutely did. I mean, you noticed it as we were watching the race, and it just seemed like a very bizarre move.
Yeah, I couldn't understand the move, and maybe he had instructions from Danny, hey, we don't really want the front end, we want to be behind horses. I'll tell you, JC Shooting Star was the one that took the worst of it, because I think Irad was worried about that one when she was making the giant move, and she got floated even wider and just barely got out finished for second, but take nothing away from the winner. Nice little start to this late pick 3.
7, 2, 3, 1, and 6-1 on Furiously Kissed for trainer Ian Wilkes. We'll be back with the prices. Going to take a quick break. Right after this on Saratoga Live, Sunday's Coaching Club American Oaks had all kinds of drama. We'll take a look back at Mike Smith's ride on Abel Tasman that had her win hanging in the balance.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching Saratoga Live, and Mississippi Delta, the morning line favorite for the Caress, our feature on this Monday afternoon, making the walkover, getting set to saddle up, and coming in real sharp form off a Grade 3 win at Belmont at 7/8.
Yeah, she won the Intercontinental in the dying strides in 120 flat and Grade 3 winner. Daughter of Giants Causeway going to try to repeat in back-to-back efforts. And there you see results of race number 7, and Furiously Kissed just looked furious up the rail as everybody else was wandering to the center of the racetrack. And the daughter of Langfier, who's in that mare, French Kiss, Julian Le Peru, just along for the ride.
That was more of a gift than Abel Tasman's jump down to the rail in the Acorn.
Right?
Furiously Kissed with the win. Ian Wilkes, Julian Le Peru, Anita Collier winning connections. Let's head downstairs to Maggie for more.
And here with Ian Wilkes, and you had to be thrilled about the ride that Julian Le Peru gave you with Furiously Kissed. I mean, they left the rail open for you just to scoot on up there.
Yeah, that was perfect. You know, sometimes it works out tremendous, and to get the trip like that, it was really good.
And you had to be pretty confident given the track condition, labeled as wet, as muddy. She's handled a wet track in the past, and did that kind of build your confidence going into this one?
Yeah, because actually I was on the other end of it when she beat me once at Churchill. I had Linda, a good filly, and she ran by me at Churchill on a wet track, so I knew she could handle it.
And you also have some stable stars. I know we're not going to see McCracken yet, but he is preparing for a Grade 1.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Getting ready for the Haskell. It's a Grade 1. That was the only reason going there, not coming here to the Jim Dandy. Then hopefully we'll come here for the Travis.
Well, we'd love to see him. Can't wait to see him in New York. Ian, congratulations here, though, getting the meet off to the right start.
Thank you.
Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Nothing like winning at Saratoga and winning like this, too. I mean, winning for fun and getting a gift like that up the rail, got to feel pretty good.
What a class act Ian Wilkes is, and he knows how to train a Breeders' Cup Classic winner, E. Dubai, and got that done, the son of E. Dubai, Fort Larned.
All right, well, we had a lot going on yesterday. Our two grade ones of the meet so far to this point, both have been filled with drama. Both have had stewards' inquiries. Yesterday, it was the Coaching Club American Oaks and your Kentucky Oaks winner, Abel Tasman. Very interesting ride from Mike Smith. He called it some good old-fashioned race riding, but the beginning of the race, Salty, who was expected to be the main competition here in the outside post, did not get out well.
Yeah, she was a little bit unprepared for the start. It seems like she always causes her own trouble. She did this in the Oaks. She sort of got left. And when they came down the stretch, Mike Smith made a middle move with Abel Tasman. The Claiborne homebred Elate gave her all she could handle on the inside, and it got tight.
Yeah, and Andy, Mike Smith, he sensed just after a quarter mile how slow the pace was. They went 25 for their second quarter. She moved from 6th to 1st, and then here came this incident down the stretch.
I feel like you could write an entire dissertation on the entire running of this race between Mike Smith's ride, the trouble at the start, and the decisions. And we can argue ad infinitum whether she should or shouldn't come down. It is interesting, Gabby, just to watch this. And I love watching the lanes. And she sure came over a lot of paths.
She did. And we can see both riders are actually hitting with their left hand, with the left whip. But Mike Smith kind of encouraging her to go closer to the rail and intimidate Elate. You know, it was a tough call. It was race riding by Mike Smith, and they kept it up. And I still think that Abel Tasman is the best, was the best horse in the race, and moving forward is, because how often do we see fillies or horses in general being taken out of their preferred running style and still be successful like that?
No question. She was absolutely the best horse, and she is the leading 3-year-old in the country. It'll take quite a lot to take her off that ledge this year. She's just been exceptional, and she's won under all kinds of different circumstances. She's a wonderful horse. It's nice to see Elate finally get that promise. I feel for Salty, though. It'd be nice to see Salty get a fair chance, guys, in some race going down the road.
Yeah, no question. I mean, she ran a very good race.
Yeah.
She had to go so wide around that turn, too. But as for Mike Smith, Paul, he said, look, I made it tight. I didn't touch the other horse, and there's no rule saying that you can't make it tight.
No, and that's exactly what he did. He had a little race riding there. I think all three of those fillies are pretty darn good. And when you talk about Abel Tasman, I think Andy makes a great point. You know, 3 different racetracks to win 3 different grade ones outside of your backyard where she's stabled in California. Pretty amazing stuff from Bob Baffert.
And, you know, Andy made a good point after the race yesterday. He thought, look, Mike Smith put himself in a position to be the GOAT, making that early move. Even Mike Smith said that part, moving early, going to the front, said was a little questionable. In the end, though, it did work out. Maggie Wolfendale caught up with Mike Smith on this eventful trip after the win.
Well, you know, she scrambled a little leaving there, and there wasn't much pace in there. But when she got up, she got into this big, strong, beautiful stride, and everyone went to slow the pace down so much that I was really going to have to get in her way to stay behind them. And I thought it was just better to leave well enough alone. It was a pretty stride. I liked it. I thought she's capable of it, so I went for it.
It's the one thing you do best, not getting in a horse's way. Anxious moments down the stretch, race riding, though.
That's what it was. I mean, I made it tight on purpose, but I didn't bump him by no means. She pulls up, and once she felt her down in there, then she grabbed a hold of me, and I was able to hold him off fine. She wasn't going to ever let him by, but she needed to get close to somebody. But he might have gotten impeded, but it was his own fault. I just got as close as I could to him without bumping him.
Mike, congratulations. Excellent ride here on Abel Tasman.
Thank you.
Well, he did have a long conversation with the stewards. Yeah. The stewards did say, do not ride other people's horses. We don't want to see that happening again. But in this case, they let it stand. You know,
got to speak to Jose Ortiz after the race, and he actually was not sour about it. He's like, hey, Mike did not really impede me. Did he make it tough for me? Yeah, he made it tough for my filly. He was more excited that Elate is back to where she is, and he thinks that she can maybe turn the tables next time against her if they ever faced off.
Big money Mike Smith, big race Bob Baffert. Look what they have done together in New York over the last couple of years. It has been an incredible run.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. And when you look at American Anthem, got a chance to speak to Bob, and American Anthem is a horse that is training so well right now. They're thinking about the Haskell. If that doesn't happen, You'll see him here at Saratoga and the Allen Jerkins.
Back-to-back years, Mike Smith has won the Coaching Club American Oaks, his 5th win in this race overall. This was last year with Songbird. You could see how popular he was after that victory, but used to ride here for a long, long time.
Yeah.
This was his home base and well-respected here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that Mike at one time was the leading rider here in New York and was the man. And, you know, since he went out to California, a big old horse named Zenyatta sort of resurrected his career. Now back on horses for Bob Baffert. And like I said, I was able to talk to Bob earlier. He told me about Abel Tasman. We were talking a little bit about More Spirit. We were wondering what was going on there. He thought that, you know what, that race knocked him out a little bit. Did the Met Mile, felt like maybe we'll shoot for the Forego, maybe collect it as well. And when we talk about the big horse Arrogate, he didn't seem too worried. So I'll take his word. When you're a Hall of Famer, you take the word.
The Allen Jerkins now, they'll point to that.
They're going to point to the Allen Jerkins, the old
Right.
King's Bishop, yes.
Also, you know, we got to keep in mind what happened just the day before that this race took place. There was a big upset by Arrogate, so Bob Baffert said we needed a lift. So what happened was well needed.
Yes.
And it could have gone. It could have been 2 massive upsets in back-to-back days, but certainly one that was much needed for that barn to get them back on track.
Well, you can't keep a guy like that down too long. And Mike
good.
Smith, you know, he's only won every Grade 1, it seems like, this year. And last year, he's allowed to skip at least a couple graded stakes wins, you know?
Yeah, you would. Comes in for the big ones, gets the money again. Well done. Mike Smith did it exactly what he needed to do in that race. A fine line. But he tiptoes it and gets the win with Abel Tasman. Coming back, Miss Ella. She got the win in the Caress last year when it was taken off the grass. Remains on the turf this year. Can she do it again for Graham Motion? We'll be back. Stay tuned.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
Eclipse Award-winning Songbird was bought at Saratoga Fasig-Tipton. Where will you be this August?
Eclipse champion Stellar Wind is a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga grad. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Miss Ella moving from 5th out the center of the course to the outside of Boom Bam Bing. Fair Point has a long way to come. Miss Ella trying to track down Full Tap, who's gotten the lead from Melaleuca. Here's Miss Ella to the outside, coming forward though. Final furlong of the Buffalo Trace, Franklin County. Miss Ella leads it. And a late run from Fair Point. Miss Ella, Fair Point. Miss Ella with the lead. Fair Point, a final try. Miss Ella hanging on by a neck from Fair Point in the Buffalo Trace Franklin County Stakes.
Well, those top two finishers out of that Buffalo Trace Franklin County back to do battle in the Caress. And even though Miss Ella won that race, and it was the last time each of those two went 5.5 furlongs on the grass, I think most would probably argue Fairpoint ran the better race with all the trouble she had.
No doubt. It wasn't even close. She hopped at the start. I couldn't believe she almost ran her down. I was actually on site that day. Couldn't believe that she almost won the race. I had better, and then she came back in the Senator Sky Maddie. I was on Breeders' Cup Saturday, and she ran well of 2016. In her 2017, her two races as a 5-year-old have not been that good. They've been a little flat. When you go to Miss Ella's two races as a 5-year-old now, she's been a tiny bit better. So the public is giving the edge a tiny bit to Fair Point, but they're first and second choice as of now.
Every day, the Saratoga Meet Ira Bet's offering a 10% winner's bonus on your trifecta bet on a selected Saratoga Stakes. Today, hit the try on your mobile device on the upcoming Caress and earn that 10% winner's bonus. See the full schedule at NYRABets.com. Well, the favorite right now is horse who just finished second in that race that we showed you behind Miss Ella, Fair Point. Third off the bench today for Shug McGahee. And Maggie, also a mare whose only try on the Saratoga turf was a stakes win last summer.
Yeah, and I think she's primed and ready to kind of get back to those winning ways here at the Spa, Greg. As we take a look at Fair Point, she does not have the greatest draw here, that's for sure, on the outside, but she's certainly sharp here in the paddock. This is the most kind of into the bridle that I've seen from her this year. Now, granted, physically, she always looks pretty good. I mean, she's a good-looking type. She's dappled head to toe. She just is like what we like to call, as horsemen, a good doer. She eats every oat. She trains very well and forwardly, and that's kind of reflective from what I see from her physically, but just looks as though she really has her game face on here today, more than I've seen in her, at least in her last effort back at Belmont. Next, we'll check in with one for Wesley Ward. Wesley, always dangerous in these turf kind of sprints. That's Ruby Notion. Now, she only has one start over, at least here in the States, over what was labeled as a kind of course with Given, a yielding course. That was going a mile in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf for the fillies. Then I think she's a much better sprinter. It shows in her physicality. She's coming in here off of a win there at Churchill, and she has a big engine on her. She just looks powerful here for Wesley, as many of his horses tend to do. I think she fits nicely in this grouping. And then checking in with the horse that I brought up at the top of the show, that is another one that's shown that she can handle a course with a little bit of moisture in it, and that's number 7, Everything Lovely here, who will come in from the Mid-Atlantic for trainer Kate DeMasi, and she's a big, good-looking type. I really like what I see from her, and she is a humongous price at nearly 20-1 here today. I mean, she does not look like a 20-1 shot here in the flesh. She is quick. We'll see if the pace stays together here or it falls apart, and for that, I know Andy and Gabby, you can answer.
I'll tell you something. I agree with Maggie. I mean, I'm afraid of this horse.
Me too.
She's absolutely right. This is a 20-1 shot that has a big chance in this race. I agree. You know, I've used the 3 favorites in a pick 5. But I, by no means, feel comfortable here. Mississippi Delta, the $1 million question, Gabby, is how comfortable you are that she's going to be effective at 5.5 furlongs.
I think she's pretty versatile. I don't really know if the distance is going to be the major concern. I do think now, though, it's going to be even more difficult for her to close from off of the pace with some of the main speed scratching in here. So she will have to overcome that. And I almost wish that, sometimes when we see these sprinters or these middle distance types of horses, when they cut back in distance for the first time, they're really sharp. And that's what I saw from her in the Intercontinental. Now cutting back again from 7/8 to 5.5, it might take a little bit of starch out of her, but I just don't know if she's going to have she's definitely not going to have the same speed that was originally signed on for her today.
But I think we just lost one major speed. The 1 and 7 are still signed on here, and she is in career form as we go out to the Oh, we'll take a look at the Intercontinental, actually. We'll talk about her. You know, she ran well here. She made the first attacking move on them. I also think Fair Point, we'll talk about her more in depth in a moment, was compromised by being forced to be too close to the pace, and I also think she's better at 5.5. We'll discuss her in a second at length. But Mississippi Delta made that big move, held off a Chad Brown horse that ran out of her skin. Just a tremendous horse with a second-place finisher. But Mississippi Delta, I mean, she is in career form, no doubt about it.
She is, and, you know, she's probably the horse to beat in here. She's just going to need a well-timed move. I thought Jose Lezcano had a well-timed move considering the pace dynamics last time out, so we'll see what she can do today.
The 12 Fair Point, and we've all talked about her ad infinitum already. I'm hoping the 5.5 works for her. She has been somewhat pace compromised. I'm hoping you see Mark Cassidy. They're sort of okay numbers coming off of wins. Mark and Norm, his son, do a terrific job. With Fair Point, I just want the 5.5 furlongs for her. I don't think she wants more ground, and I don't want to worry about the pace. I just hope they let her find her own spot in this race.
Well, last time out, we were briefly talking about it in the Intercontinental. She was probably too forwardly placed, and I think that was primarily because she's not really a 7/8 sprinter. Right. I think that, though, was a good primer for her. She's going to be cutting back in distance now. Her third start off the layoff, even 2 starts back at Belmont when she went 3/4. Port McGee was able to control everything, and it looked like everybody was treading water behind her. So, to me, I think she's sitting on maybe a really sharp race today.
I'm hoping that's the case, and I agree with all of that stuff. Miss Ella is trying to regain that form as well, the 9 Miss Ella. She's a good horse, and she fought a couple of tough decisions with Fair Point, even though we all agree, as they were talking about upstairs, that Fair Point was a little unlucky at Keeneland. This is her third start in 2017, and this is that Keeneland race, the Buffalo Trace, where Miss Ella was able to win, but Fair Point had that tough break there. She, too, had that Port McGee situation in here. She is a little more tactical, I think, though, than the aforementioned 2 horses.
For sure. And this was a good race, but as we said, I thought that Fair Point probably should have won, considering the early trouble here. But, look, I'd like to have a horse like this in the barn. She could win on anything. Dirt, turf, sprinting, wherever Graham places her.
I think Graham Ocean's looked at a horse and he's like, I should be running around the dirt or running around the turf, and even synthetic. She's capable of running fairly well. A couple of horses at prices outside of these horses. The 6 pretty perfection. The one thing that worries me about her is I think she's going to be better on a very firm course like the one she was getting at Gulfstream, Gabby.
I think she's a horse for course down at Gulfstream. I just can't really see that translating here. I mean, she had a tremendous winter down there, and she actually managed to kind of bully her way through horses and create really good trips. We'll take a look at go back down to Gulfstream, and like I said, she's been able to work out pretty decent trips, but she hasn't been able to duplicate those races out of town, at least on the turf. I know she's coming out of a very fast race last time out where she was defeated.
But also, the turf at Gulfstream gets very, very firm. Obviously, I don't think it's bad. It's labeled good. It needed some rain, but it's clearly got a lot more give than the one down at Gulfstream as the horses are heading out onto the racetrack for the Caress.
Yeah, post-parade coming up here. Our post-parade is brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, be sure to visit OCDpellets.com. So, favoritism to Fair Point, whose only try on the Saratoga turf was a win in the Smart and Fancy Stake last summer at Saratoga. We begin with Paquita Coqueta, owned by Luis Felipe Sullivan, trained by Chad Summers with Luis Saez aboard.
The Chilean bred via California brings a lot of speed to the party. 2 best races were at 5 furlongs, 18-1.
Mike Rutherford, Jackpot Ranch owned Mississippi Delta. Mark Cassie trains. Jose Lezcano aboard.
You can try to repeat off that Intercontinental win with Lezcano from off the pace, but is 5.5 furlongs too short for her.
Summer Reading is the Jimmy Jerkins trainee, owned by Joseph Shields Jr. and Javier Castellano aboard.
Does have a little pace, probably better dirt form than turf form.
Ruby Notion, sent out by Silverton Hill. Wesley Ward trains. And Julio Garcia on board.
I think this is the sneaky horse. Look to back, right behind her stablemate. Remember that horse, Lady Aurelia?
Oh, yes, certainly do. Stoneway Farms Pretty Perfection, trained by Kelly Breen with Nick Juarez.
This horse could be a horse for course at Gulfstream. 3 for 3 over that course, 0 for 3 over other courses this year.
Kathleen DeMasi trains and owns part of Everything Lovely, along with Armand Delaperriere, and Kendrick Carmouche rides.
And daughter of Pollard's Vision, sort of like her sire, likes to be in the trifecta. She is 18 for 22 in the money.
The defending champ for Jack Swain, trained by Graham Motion, with Joel Rosario aboard.
Yeah, very good mare here by exchange rate. Both her races at Saratoga over this turf course have been good second-place finish. She was a defending champ, although it was off the turf last year.
Coming in from Laurel, Carolina Shag, owned and trained by Susan Cooney, and Sheldon Russell rides.
Good job by Susan to get this horse to win almost off a 20-some-odd month layoff, but now it gets a little tougher.
And here is Stuart Janney's Fair Point. Shug McGahee, the trainer, and Jose Ortiz on board.
Strictly the mare to beat. If you look at her races from the outside slots, they've been all very good. And like you said, she does have a win over the Saratoga Strip.
Well, a 12-time winner on the turf is down on the inside and could be the speed of the speed. Standing by with a trainer, Paquita Coqueta. Let's go to Maggie.
And she's also very proficient at this type of distance. And she kind of turns back here, Chad Summers, trainer of Paquita Coqueta. And you got her from Richard Mandela, Hall of Famer. You feeling some pressure?
Oh, absolutely. I ask myself why every day. I mean, Richard did a great job. He came in, he had been breezing her. He said she's ready to run, and he was 100% right. We breezed her one time. This is the right spot. The shorter, the better. We like the 5.5 distance, got back from 6.5, and we're really hoping for a good start today.
And I know she's schooled and she was a handful, but she seemed to calm herself right down as far as race day was concerned.
Yeah, great job by Richard again. Mandela telling us that she's going to be a little nervous, school her, and that's what we did. And just spent a lot of time in the paddock since we came up here to Saratoga, and today she was a perfect angel. Hopefully she'll be perfect out there.
And Chad, I know a lot of people can't wait to see your big horse. That's Mind Your Biscuits. How is he doing up here?
Doing super. I mean, settled in really well. He loves Saratoga. He's run well here the last couple of years, so we're excited, and hopefully we'll see him at the end of the meet.
That makes a whole bunch of us. New York Breds all the way, baby. Well, congratulations with him, and best of luck in here with Paquita Coqueta.
Thank you. Go Chili.
Hey, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Well, we know she is awfully quick. So we'll see how she fares. 17-1. Just look behind us here, and there's a look at her on the racetrack. Right next door to her in the gate is going to be Mississippi Delta, the 2. Pretty aggressive warm-up. She just went by.
Yeah, Mississippi Delta getting a very aggressive warm-up. You're right. I think to try to stay close. When it comes to Paquita Coqueta, she's going to be in front. Look for her to be in front early. She's running against a good horse named Illumina, and as Chad has a smile on his face because he does have this best sprinter in North America in Mind Your Biscuits.
Yeah, it just was brilliant, by the way, at Belmont. Coming up, it is the Caress, and there's Mississippi Delta getting that warm-up. We'll be back with a feature when we return.
Multiple Grade 1 winner First Samurai by Giants Causeway got off to a quick start at stud, siring Grade 1 winners in each of his first 3 crops. His talented son Lee captured the Grade 1 Don Handicap in record time and retired to stud with over $2.3 million in earnings. Sovereign Award nominee Stack Deck captured the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes and Grade 2 Kennedy Road Stakes, both just to tick off track record times. First Samurai at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before. Well, so many great things to visit here in Saratoga, located in downtown Saratoga Springs. This is historic Congress Park. It's been one of the most popular attractions for residents and visitors to enjoy, and you're going to be able to enjoy little Shakespeare in the park as well. A Midsummer Night's Dream happening at the park. I plan on going on Tuesday. Lord, what fools these mortals be.
To bet or not to bet? That is the question.
Always to bet is the question, absolutely. And by the way, Steve Haskins' son-in-law directing Midsummer Night Dream.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
cool.
if you get a chance, get there to Congress Park and catch it 6 p.m. through Tuesday. As we get set for the feature coming up, Caress is next. As we get a look at Mississippi Delta, 7-2 on the board right now. The third choice in the wagering. How are you going to play it, Paul?
Well, you could tell that Gabby, myself, and Andy are using two common horses. We have the 2 and 12, and we swung different horses. I'm swinging the 5, Ruby Notion here again. When she ran 2 starts back, I couldn't understand, like Wesley entered her in with her stablemate Lady Aurelia, and she ran a bang-up third. She came back to win that race. I think she's got a good shot here.
The Caress, our feature on this Monday afternoon. And Fair Point, your favorite. Welcome to Saratoga Live, and those just joining us on Altitude Network. Great to have you with us on this Monday afternoon. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. The feature race on this Monday is the Caress, and it is just a couple of moments to post here. Coming up, Greg Wolf alongside Paula Duca. Of course, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudette, and Maggie Wolfendale with you. You can play along from home as well. Get signed up and started with Naira Bets. Bet 200 and you get 200 in your account. Use the promo code PICK5 to get signed up and started. And you get signed up all across the country with NairaBets.com and take advantage of that promotion. So this turf course, we know this is the only race that did remain on the turf, Paul, this afternoon. A little bit of give in the turf. With that, how do you think it's changed things?
Well, you know, it's going to be really hard to tell. Obviously, we needed some of the rain, and it's been nice out for the last couple hours, so time to dry out as you look at our selections. I don't know. Will it play a little bit deeper and longer and maybe play towards maybe like a 6 furlong turf course? Remains to be seen. That would help Mississippi Delta, the 2, who's going to be launching from way back.
And again, right now, it's those 2 horses coming out of that Buffalo Trace, Franklin County at Keeneland. When they last met, the 9 Miss Ella, the 12 Fairpoint, who are right now the top 2 choices on the board. Let's send it upstairs for the call of the Caress, the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown, Larry Colmus. All right, we'll get to Larry in a moment here. We still have a little bit of time. Some of the horses still making their way onto the turf course here for the Caress. And Andy, you know, as we just mentioned a moment ago, those 2 horses that ran so big the last time they went 5.5 furlongs, Miss Ella, Fair Point, the 9, the 12, taking a lot of attention right now on the board.
Yeah, it's no big surprise. You know, they sort of have those races together. It's almost a familiarity situation. And I think justifiably the public is concerned, Gabby, that Mississippi Delta, not so much she won't run back to a race, but she just won't be as effective at 5.5.
It's a legitimate fear, in my opinion, and she was sitting on a very good race last time out. I don't know if she's going to get the same type of scenario today. I wanted to quickly mention the 7 Everything Lovely, because I know Maggie really likes this mare. I like her too a little bit as an outsider, because I don't necessarily think that she likes 6 furlongs. You saw her in the Jamila. She was beaten at 70 cents to the dollar. She should have absolutely won that race, but big difference between 5/8 and 6 furlongs for turf sprinters.
Yeah, I agree, but then the 5.5 is somewhere in the middle, and it'll be interesting because the one Paquita Coqueta, especially with Luis Saez, they have to come out running from the rail. They just have no choice. And you know Kendrick Carmouche is not taking back on another horse, so that horse is going to come out. And I just do think there's a possibility that both the 1 and 7 hook up a little bit here, guys.
Yeah, it would certainly appear that way. I mean, we know the 1, that's the only way, right, Paul, that she can win this race. And certainly Kendrick Carmouche on the 7, a very aggressive rider.
I think the 1 is a little bit of an overlay because her races at 5 furlongs are better. But, yeah, but she's a bullet. She's going to be in front in here. But I think Andy makes a good point. If the 7 pushes that pace with Kendrick, it's going to be to the advantage of the 9 and the 12. I think the 5 sits right off those two.
And we haven't talked about this horse much at all. Pretty Perfection, the 6 here for Kelly Breen. Little bit of pace. I don't think she's anywhere near as quick as the 1 or the 7 in here, but certainly is very accomplished on the grass.
Yeah, just the only thing is 3 wins, all 3 wins this year and last year at Gulfstream.
All right, again, the Caress, our feature here on this Monday afternoon. Once again, let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
Everything Lovely about to move into the starting gate here will be followed into line by Ruby Notion. As Everything Lovely is somewhat hesitant to go into the starting gate here. Miss Ella is the favorite at this point of odds of 5-2. Now it looks as though Everything Lovely's gone in. Here comes Miss Ella along with Ruby Notion. Next is Carolina Shag. And the last one in will be Fairpoint. Fairpoint coming up to the outside stall, going in. They're all in line. They're off in the Caress. Paquita Coqueta sent out to the front. Ruby Notion and Everything Lovely have speed too. And then it's Carolina Shag on the outside. Pretty Perfection between horses and down toward the inside Mississippi Delta. Summer Reading is right in there too, 5 lengths off the lead. And then it's back to Miss Ella and Fairpoint at the back. Racing for the far turn, Paquita Coqueta leads the way. Ruby Notion on the outside is running in second. Splitting horses comes Everything Lovely. Pretty Perfection is next after a 21.84 quarter. Carolina Shag is 5th and moving up on the outside as Pretty Perfection gets caught in traffic there. Farther out, Fairpoint is beginning to move up. Then Mississippi Delta, Summer Reading to the outside, and Miss Ella, they're into the stretch. Paquita Coqueta has been there every step of the way so far. Here's Carolina Shag moving on the outside. Fairpoint's coming down the center of the course. Ruby Notion is in behind them. And also Miss Ella coming with a rush. And here comes Miss Ella. She may be moving the best. Miss Ella grabs the lead close to home and goes on to win. Miss Ella to beat Fairpoint, Carolina Shag, and then Ruby Notion in a final time of 1 minute 2.30 seconds.
Miss Ella gets the better of Fairpoint one more time. Joel Rosario for Grand Motion.
Yeah, no excuses today for Fairpoint. And 2 best horses run 1-2 in here. How about the 10 and Carolina Shag at the top of the lane for Susan Cooney, about to cause a giant upset for a split second here at 42-1 when they hit the top of the lane. Gabby and Andy, I mean, for a split second it looked like the 10 was home, but right here Rosario was able to swing right off actually the 10's cover or follow her home.
I'll tell you something, Joel Rosario, this ride is a Hall of Fame ride. And you know, he got some maybe unfair criticism for a ride on Browse where he saved ground and he just couldn't get out in the stretch. But nobody does this better than Joel Rosario, not being afraid to wait patiently inside of horses.
And we were noticing this when we were watching it live, Andy. It looks like Miss Ella, actually gets in tight on the back stretch, and Joel has to take her up a little bit, but he does a fantastic job and able to recover quickly and still saves ground.
Yeah, right. He realizes I can't get out in there. Rather than steady and try to get back, I better stay in there and save ground and hope that I get a spot. And this is what Joel does better than anybody, or as well as anybody. He's patient. Sometimes he's going to get unlucky like he did with Browse. In this case, he did everything he could to give his mount her best chance to win and deserves a ton of credit.
And Fairpoint got a tremendous run on her. I mean, we saw Fairpoint actually positioned outside. She was a couple lengths in front of her. Miss Ella had a huge run late, and we were talking before the race went off. She got bet decently late.
Yeah, the public was very smart here. But, guys, I don't know what you think. I think if Joel Rosario doesn't save that ground, and don't forget, Fairpoint was wide the whole way, that made the difference.
Well, so much about turf racing, especially when you don't have a lot of margin for error, going just 5.5 furlongs, comes down to saving every bit of ground you can.
Well, he made a great move by saving ground because Andy's and Gabby are both right. If he tries to go with the 5-wide move, it's not happening. So what he did, he rolled the dice a little bit. But what I loved is he didn't pick out, he picked out a horse that was to the lead. So what he did is he followed the Susan Cooney runner, the 10, and was able to swing off that cover almost like a slingshot and was able to go fair point again. Maybe a little unlucky that she was wide, but you can't keep making excuses when the same horse keeps beating you.
Miss Ella gets the job done, wins for the 6th time in her career, just the 2nd time, however, on the grass. But she showed a pretty devastating closing kick here, and what a ride by Joel Rosario to deliver this victory. Miss Ella, it was as easy as the defending champ.
Right? The one was off the turf last year, on the turf this year. Versatile.
We're going to take a break. It's shaping up to be an absolute dandy. The Derby winner versus the Preakness winner, round 2. We'll preview the Preakness rematch between Always Dreaming and Cloud Computing when we come back on Saratoga Live. Stay with us.
And they're off to New York, the premier state bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish 1st, 2nd, or 3rd at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Dakota, they won't catch Monin. Monin wins the February Stakes.
You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program. The best program.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Claiborne Farms Flatter is carrying the flag for AP Indy, rewarding breeders in the sales ring and on the track. Among the nation's leading sires by Grade 1 stakes horses in 2016, this year's stars include Terrace, Upstart, Kobe's Back, Amy's Flatter, and most recently, Paola Queen, winner of the Grade 1 test stakes at Saratoga. Success on the track has led to big numbers in the auction ring as well, with yearlings this year selling up to $425,000. Flatter at Claiborne Farms.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and a host of other networks across the country. Thanks for being with us as the opening week of Saratoga wraps up here on this Monday afternoon. Miss Ella takes the feature, and Miss Ella says, I don't care what surface we run this race on. I'm going to win it back-to-back years.
Much the best.
Let's get downstairs to Maggie for more.
And Joelle's ridden her 8 times, Miss Ellen, has never been worse than 3rd. You pick up another win, back-to-back Caress wins here, Joelle. As you said, she's just honest as they come.
Yeah, she's really honest, so she always try hard. And, you know, she's run very well today again, so I got to be proud of her all the time.
Is there any kind of adjustments, and given the fact that you do know her well, that you have to make with her given the surface? Because she is proficient on either dirt or turf.
Yeah, actually, you know, last year she went going here in the muddy track, and then you know, I have a feeling that she was going to handle it to the little soft turf. And then I just have overconfidence the whole time. And then, you know, they can see they put a lot of good pace for me. And then, you know, she always honest, you know, she give always the 100%. So I'm proud of her.
You are. We all are. We like Miss Ella. Joelle, congratulations.
Thank you.
Greg?
Maggie, thanks. He's been a nice fit. He was on board for that win last year when that race came off the turf in this very same race. And Joelle with 2 wins on this Monday afternoon.
Hey, congratulations to Mr. Swain, owner and breeder of this 5-year-old mare by exchange rate. Now 6 for 16 lifetime. And we were mentioning how her 2 races at Saratoga were good. She just ran another good one.
Joelle Rosario, multiple win afternoon. Want to remind everyone, New York Racing Association leads the way with its Spanish language broadcast options. Pre-race analysis available from Luis Grandison. It's all available on the NYRA Now app and all in HD as well. And, of course, race-by-race calls. Here's Luis with last year's Jim Dandy and Eric Guillo. Lauban.
Destiny sigue tratando de avanzar y por dentro está avanzando Gobernador Malibu. Luban se sigue defendiendo brillantemente de Destiny de Gobernador Malibu. Luban con José Ortiz se la está trayendo de punta a punta en el Jim Dandy. El segundo lugar va a ser bastante cerrado ahí entre Gobernador Malibu y el ejemplar Destiny.
We're going to preview the Jim Dandy here in just a moment. Let's take a look at the jockey standings, though. Irad Ortiz Jr., Jose, they're 1-2. As usual, huge day from Irad the other day.
Yeah, 4-bagger the other day for Irad. Jose steady as they come. Ricardo Santana Jr. with a natural hat trick. And Joel's been a little bit unlucky with some of his rides. He'll be up there by the end of this meet, and so will Johnny V and some others. You look at the trainers. Again, the usual suspects.
Yeah, Todd Pletcher getting going. He's got 4 wins to lead the way, and Chad Brown just started to heat up over the weekend, and we expect to see many more from those 2, and from Kieran McLaughlin as well, who's off to a good start, currently in 3rd in the trainer standings. But just a few days into this meet, and we can see the usual suspects starting to do their thing.
Yeah, sometimes you come into a new meet or you want to try a new handicapping angle or something that goes here or that. Sometimes you just need to swallow Pletcher and you need to swallow Chad Brown. That's the bottom line. And Jose Ortiz and Irad Ortiz. They win races. It's just called percentages.
Yeah, and of course the big one that we know Chad Brown really wants to win more than anything would be the Travers. And the stepping stone to the Travers, of course, coming up this weekend. That would be the Jim Dandy. And he's going to be locked and loaded for that race, and it's going to be a tremendous rematch, we would think, between Cloud Computing and this guy right here, the Kentucky Derby winner, Always Dreaming.
Yeah, and, you know, Always Dreaming, cooling out, worked really well the other day. I thought Todd maybe undersold his work. I thought his work was good, but when you go to Cloud Computing, as we look at the first Saturday in May and Always Dreaming's best day, and did the racetrack carry him? It might have. And was some other horses maybe best that day? Tough to tell now, but Cloud Computing was best 2 weeks later. And the thing that I liked about Cloud Computing, as you see Always Dreaming down the lane, is that they didn't even think about going to the Belmont. This was always somewhat what they wanted to point to, the Jim Dandy, then go to the Travers there. I think Chad Brown, with that plan, is starting to learn a little bit more and more, and he's becoming more dangerous. And I think Always Dreaming is going to have his hands full.
Cloud Computing came along, Andy, kind of late in the game as a 3-year-old. We didn't see him until February, and boy, was his progression rapid.
It's absolutely remarkable what this horse did in just 3 short months. To go from a 6-furlong maiden win on the inner track at Aqueduct to winning the Preakness. And the other thing, Gabby, is while Always Dreaming may have a tactical advantage in what's probably going to be a small field, Cloud Computing's not slow. He was very close to the pace in the Preakness.
And exactly, I thought it was actually a brilliant ride by Javier Castellano. He waited the perfect time. We could actually see the pace kind of collapse in front of Classic Empire. Julian Leperoux having no other option but to make the lead there. And we could see Classic Empire kind of wavering coming down the stretch. But Javier Castellano, just a perfectly timed move to get up. But that doesn't discount this horse. So you could see him training into the race. You can see him training into the Jim Dandy. He has a lot of raw talent, and I don't think he's gotten to the bottom of himself yet.
This horse. I mean, Curlin won the Preakness in his 5th start, and we know what Curlin did. Now, I'm not saying that Cloud Computing is Curlin, but he won it in his 4th start. And I'll tell you something. Chad Brown has had a very clear plan with this horse all along. When he was prepping in the Wood Memorial, where he finished 3rd, but he had a very rough trip that day, Chad Brown actually said to me before the Wood, he said the toughest thing I'm going to have to do is if he wins the Wood, how am I going to convince us not to run in the Kentucky Derby? Because he always wanted to go to the Preakness with this horse. Well, fortunately for him, he didn't win the Wood, even though he was qualified for the Derby, and he didn't go, but he had a perfect plan. And then he said, Jim Dandy and the Travers.
Well, I think he's in a good spot, right, with Practical Joke as well going to the Haskell. I think he's got 2 guns loaded there.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong hand for both Chad Brown. He's got Timeline as well, but the same connections. Klarovich Stable, who have Cloud Computing, also have Practical Joke.
Yeah, they got some pretty good 3-year-olds. They got a few options here, but these are weekends that we expect to see at a meet like this here at Saratoga. The Derby winner, the Preakness winner, back for the rematch here in round 2, and we'll find out. We kind of reset now for the summer for this midsummer Derby coming up with the Travers. Who is going to take that next step? We know how much a Triple Crown can take out of you, but for Cloud Computing, he only ran at one leg of the Triple Crown.
I agree with Andy, though. What this horse did in only his 4th career start, and I agree also with Gabby about the ride. I think Classic Empire got a little lost in the lead. You could see in the Preakness that Julian Leparoux was looking in the inboard, like, how clear am I? Because I know my horse is stopping on me. But Cloud Computing is a horse that is moving forward. But a lot of people think that Timeline's still the best 3-year-old in Chad Brown's barn. That remains to be seen. That's very interesting.
Really?
Yes.
Did you care to share these names?
Yeah, it might be the one next to you.
Really? Okay, very interesting. And let's see, yeah, as Andy mentioned, too, another Klarovich runner, Practical Joke. Chad Brown said he thought he ran the best race of his career last time out. And he did that as the high weight, conceding 6 to 8 pounds to the rest of that field. And he did it with some trouble in the race, too.
Around one turn, though. Around one turn.
Oh, good
He's
point.
a solid horse. He ran a solid Derby. He ran a solid Breeders' Futurity. Just think he's a better one-turn horse.
We're going to take a break in the action. We still have the nightcap to come. It'll be on the main track, and we're going to talk what's trending. You can talk with us on Twitter, hashtag Saratoga Live to get social with us. We'll be back.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2. You can watch live racing, replays, expert analysis, videos, and workouts in all on-demand in HD with the NYRA Now app. It's a must for the Saratoga enthusiast. The app is a free download. Go to the NYRA Now app today and get that started for you and help your horse racing knowledge and have a great meet here at Saratoga. Our nightcap coming up. It was scheduled for the grass. It's now on the main track. 5.5 furlongs, New York breds, a maiden special weight event coming up. We have had 3 sons of Orb, or offspring of Orb, I should say, already win. We had one named Orbelution who won over the weekend here at Saratoga, and now Royal Power, main track only entrant, trying to make it a 4th winner for Orb. With more on this group, let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And I don't think you can ever count out a main track only entrant in these off the turf events. And that's exactly what, Greg, you were talking about with number 14, Royal Power, a son of Orb here for Gary Gullo. And a lot of times Gary Gullo will try to strike with these kind of scenarios, entering his 2-year-olds in these main track only types of races. Now, looking at him, he is very good looking, as we've seen from the Orb progeny. They're very nicely balanced. They are mature types at this young age, physically at least. Now, looking at him, he's slightly on the softer side. He might need a start, but it is only 5.5 furlongs. Also, a little bit on the green side as well, but I like him. He's certainly a player. He's certainly a use here in today's last. Next, we'll move on to horses that remained in the body of the race, including number 7, My Mr. Wonderful, and he's almost a kind of automatic use because he's trained by one of the best 2-year-old trainers that we have, or first-time out trainers as well, and Rick Violet. Looking at him, he's certainly a little more meant for the turf, to be completely honest. He's just physically very much more a turf horse to me overall. He also might want a little more ground. He's very scopy. But with that being said, he's extremely well prepared. He is wearing blinkers, though, which for the first time, which you don't see Rick bring these firsters over oftentimes wearing, but I like him. I like the way he's handling himself. I like his fitness level, too, for his debut. Number 8 is Fox Strike, and maybe one of the best pedigrees, at least, a half to Fox rules, and they seem to be fairly proficient on either surface, but this guy is a son of Lonhro, so that's very much a turf influence. Family, though, they're all very small, so I'm not going to fault him for the fact that he is on the petite side. He's a little bit green, though. I'm worrying a little bit about the fact that he might get out there and be a little green. On the other hand, though, he looks very, very quick. He has that quick kind of look to him, and the family, they've all had early speed in their races. Moving on to one that should be a decent price here for Gary Siaka. That's number 9, Fair Archer. Another one with more turf pedigree, and he certainly looks it. Boy, he's a good-looking type, though. Very big, has a lot of size to him as a young horse, and I mean, he's being led around with the pony as of now. I haven't seen him do anything too extravagant and ill-behaved, but he's certainly caught my eye. Guys, a lot of guesswork to be done here in this off-the-turf 2-year-old race.
No doubt, Maggie, a ton of guessing to be done here. Now, obviously, you start the conversation with the MTO Royal Power. Here's the question for you, Gabby. Is the horse being bet because they know something or because he's the only horse that you know was entered for a dirt race?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. But I do think that maybe the pedigree is an influence on the tote board here. The way that we've been seeing Orbs run, the progeny of Orb, on the dirt, on the turf, really everywhere they're showing up. We saw a really nice turf debuter by Orb for Todd Pletcher yesterday. So I think he's a must-use. He's also coming in with a progressive work tab. And Gary Gullo does great work with his 2-year-old first-time starters sprinting on the dirt. So we saw him winning a little bit back here.
Well, yeah, we did. He was excited to see us. You can't blame him. It's pretty exciting for everyone.
I picked him.
I think it was winning at you, Gabby. I don't think he even. Why would he possibly notice me when you were sitting here? Gary Gullo is a terrific trainer, and he is an under-the-radar trainer, and he's very good with first-time starters. And he has my highest respect. The 8 Fox Stripe, you heard Maggie discussing him, and this has been a very good dam. Now she has had good turf horses, but dirt as well. It's more of a dirt family, but as Maggie said, Lonhro is a big turf influence, the sire.
And on the bottom side, the mare actually did have 3 two-year-old winners, and the mare, she was multiple stakes winner.
Broke her maiden year.
She did, first time out. She was very, very fast, and sometimes you really like to see that. It gives a horse some precocity first time out, and I like to see that. I like the work tab, but looking at the connections, Anthony Ferrero, 0 for 28 here at Saratoga with all of his starters over the past 5 years, so that was one thing I couldn't get over, and it does seem like a better turf pedigree. I think this horse might be better meant for the turf.
If you do go back, the brother, Fox Rules, broke his maiden, I think, for Ferraro here at Saratoga a year ago. Beat me out of a monster score with a future Grade 1 winner that finished second in Unbridled Command. The 7, My Mr. Wonderful. You know, it's interesting what Maggie said. Rick Violet, he had a maiden he started at Belmont that he'd entered in the turf, and he kept it in. It took some money because Rick is so good with these first-time starters. And the horse did no running, and Rick said to me afterwards, there was a reason I entered that horse on the turf. And you worry a little bit because the 7, My Mr. Wonderful, is a half to 2 turf winners.
Is, yes. But the mare actually ran very well, too, early. I believe she ran very well first time out, and second time out getting into the high 70 Beyer speed figure. So there is decent pedigree to work off of, and like Maggie said, like you said, you can't leave Rick Violet out of these 2-year-old races, especially when there's a lot of guesswork involved.
No, his horses are usually ready. If they have ability, they often have speed. The 10, This Cat Can Fly. I'm alive in the pick 5 with a 7, 8, 10, and 14. This Cat Can Fly, I know she didn't do much, or he didn't do much running his debut, but at least he has the experience under his belt, and Michelle Nevin has no bigger fan than me.
And don't you think that this horse has a better dirt pedigree than turf pedigree?
He does. Now, maybe that's because Michelle's kind of giving up, and that's why she entered the horse in the turf, but doesn't mean he couldn't win here. And that experience, you can't discount experience enough, or too much.
Well,
you don't want to.
Exactly, and
something like
the
that.
5, Joe Smoking Gun, is another one that has experience. I just don't know if he's good enough.
Yeah, his dirt races are bad. He really improved on the turf. As we head upstairs, as the horses are making their way out to the track.
All right, they are, Andy. Our post parade here coming up in a moment, and in a race that is an absolute puzzler. There's so little form to go off of in here. The public making that main track only entrant, Royal Power, the son of Kentucky Derby winner Orb, the 5-2 choice right now.
Yeah, you got to read in between the lines, don't you? The 8 in here, Fox Strike, the Lonero colt that they were talking about, I mean, been working upstate at Finger Lakes. I mean, bullet after bullet. And you talk about that mare as a good mare.
Yeah, she's a Stone Cold Fox. She actually won the Joseph A. Gimma by 15.5 lengths.
Well, you can see my exacta box. I'm going to throw the 1 cross multiply. A Gary Contessa runner. The dam was a $150,000 winner, and she did all of her damage on the dirt. I know the Factor has been a good turf influence first time out, but I think that horse has taken sneaky money with Junior Alvarado on the rail. I'll include that horse with the 7 and 12 in my exacta box.
Yeah, and cross multiply, guys. We're going to have this post parade coming up in a moment, but Class Break, this is her first full. She actually won a couple of stakes at Hawthorne when she was a 2-year-old, and here she is, or here's her offspring here, cross multiply with Junior Alvarado for Gary Contessa.
The last thing any of us should do is talk you off a horse at a price in this race, a bit of a crapshoot. We'll have to, though, get out from the inside position.
Bus the Bell, trained by Randy Prasad, and Abel Iscano aboard.
A long shot does appear to be working a little bit on the slower side in the morning. Could be an issue with an inside post position.
Mike Maker trains Alien Invasion for William Butler, and Tyler Gaffleone aboard.
Seems like this one really had the stronger pedigree for turf, so whether or not he'll handle the dirt is a real question.
Getting a little rambunctious there as well at 13-1 on the board. Appears to be settled down. Next, we'll see the 5, Joe's Smokin' Gun, trained by Timothy Hills with Paco Lopez.
He's getting bet off of a turf effort, and this is the kind of one you want to avoid in the off-the-turf race. His 2 dirt races are poor.
Here is the 7, My Mr. Wonderful, Jose Ortiz aboard for Rick Violet.
Well, Rick Violet's great with first-time starters. This one, though, also has a much better pedigree for the turf, unfortunately.
Langpap Stable sends out Fox Strike, Florent Giroux aboard for Anthony Ferraro.
Showcases some fast works and is out of a fast mare that's produced multiple 2-year-old winners.
5-1 on Fox Strike. The 10, This Cat Can Fly for Michelle Nevin with Manny Franco aboard.
Sometimes experience pays off. This horse will be making his second start.
For JMS Stable at 9-1. Here's the 9, Fair Archer. Dylan Davis rides for Gary Siaka.
Maggie liked this one in the paddock. Has a very good pedigree, however, for turf. Was very much in my play on the grass. We'll see on the dirt.
And a son of Arch there debuting. The 13, Bourbon for Me, son of Congaree for Archibald Kingsley Jr. with Nick Juarez.
Interestingly, they shipped this horse all the way from Monmouth, get into the race, but was entered for turf, but as a Congaree, which says more dirt.
And Joel Rosario already with a couple of wins on today's card. Teams up with Gary Gullo and the son of Orb.
High price purchase at the Saratoga August sale, just a few blocks away, but we'll see if Orb, a new sire, can get another winner.
It would be the 4th winner for Orb, if in fact he can do so in a bullet drill at Belmont. Coming in, 47-4 move.
Yeah, the entered for main track only horse taking all the money right now at 2-1. You look at some of the other horses in here, the 7, My Mr. Wonderful for Richard Violette, who's so good with his first-time starters. And the horse with experience is staying right at that 3rd choice, the 5 in here with Paco Lopez, Joe Smoking Gun.
Yeah, that's the most experienced runner here in this group. He'll be making career start number 4. There is the son of Orb out of a Southern Halo Mare Black Escort, first time out. And it would be, again, the 4th winner for an Orb offspring, the former Derby winner for Shug McGahee.
And they've been running well. And for reports that I've had for some of my buddies that own a couple Orbs and a couple of the trainers, they're showing a lot more speed and precocity. I mean, he won his first time. I think a lot of people forget he actually was a pretty good 2-year-old. And then, obviously, his best day was the first Saturday in May. But they've been showing precocity and a lot of gate speed. We'll see what we'll get here from Royal Power, a horse that has been working bullets in the morning.
We're going to take a break in the action. Can another son of Orb get it done first time out? He's the main track only in the current 2-1 favorite here for the nightcap on this Monday at Saratoga. We'll have the finale when we come back.
Selected sales, superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
We found Belmont Stakes winner Taprit at Fasig-Tipton, Saratoga. Where will you be in August?
Before Tepin conquered the world, she was a Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sales graduate. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig-Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
You're watching Saratoga Live and opening week coverage here on this Monday finale coming up. One of the best starting gate crews in the entire country getting ready to do their thing here for the nightcap. With more on this ninth, let's go to Maggie.
And checking in with a horse who has some experience, that is number 10 in here. This bird can fly, and really, although he was beaten several lengths in that debut effort, does come out of a pretty nice New York bred maiden special weight for the 2-year-olds, won by Morning Breeze. He came back and ran second in the Rockville Center. And I don't think the horse that ran second is bad either in collective effort. Looking at him here, though, he's so much more fit now with a start under his belt here for Michelle Nevin. And, you know, when you watch horses warm up over a track that might have some moisture in it, you want to see them kind of skipping over the top or bouncing over it. And he was one of them that did just that. And I just like that experience edge that he possesses over many of these. Another one that got over the track pretty nicely was number 1, Cross Multiply. I wasn't enthralled with him in the paddock, though we did look very fit, but the way he kind of jogged off and had a really springy action over this course. Now, a lot of times springy action can mean turf, and he might just want the turf with after this start, but this track certainly did not get in his way as he currently sits at 14-1. Gabby, Andy, do you have any other kind of price plays in here?
You know, for me, listen, I'm already, married to my pick 5, and obviously I'm thrilled you like the 10, Maggie, because I have the 10, and that's the biggest pick 5 payoff. It's you probably want to have speed, and you probably want to worst confined position in these races. The question is, who's going to be?
Exactly. And I kind of feel like, at least watching some of the recent dirt races too, you want to be positioned closer to the inside, and sometimes that can be a little bit difficult with these baby races. The key to being successful in baby races is to possess speed, is to get off to a good start, and be able to go from there.
Yeah, and it's just a guess how it's going to get there. I mean, you would think if the 14 is live, he's going to have speed. I have another question for the guys upstairs. Greg was talking about Shakespeare in the Park a little bit earlier in Saratoga, and now Paul LaDuca is on like a victory tour around Saratoga. Everywhere he goes. So, Paul, have you thought about maybe playing something in Shakespeare in the Park on your day off on Tuesday?
I like that idea.
Well, you know what, Andy? I do look good in tights.
I'm going. If you're in, I'm going, Paul.
That's a bad image.
If there's audience participation, maybe they'll just grab you out of the crowd. We'll see.
I'll bring some of that spring water over there and get me in some tights.
Paul LaDuca in Shakespeare, Midsummer Night's Dream. It could happen maybe this Tuesday night. It's the nightcap from Saratoga coming up, and 7-5 favoritism on the Orb. First-time start of the main track only to the outside here, the 14 Royal Power. Joel Rosario looking for a third winner on the afternoon. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the load and call, Larry Colmus.
Here comes Joe Smoking Gun up to the starting gate. Moving in. They'll be followed by My Mr. Wonderful. Bourbon for Me is in. Royal Power, who's at 8-5, will be last to load. They're all in line. They're off. My Mr. Wonderful comes out running on the lead. Joe Smoking Gun broke second, and then it's Alien Invasion third to the inside, followed by Fox Strike, Fair Archer to the far outside, and Cross Multiply down toward the inside. After that, it's Royal Power. Bourbon for Me is steps slow to start, splits horses and moves up. This Cat Can Fly is next, and Outrun is Bus the Bell. The opening quarter mile moves along in 23.09 seconds as they round the far turn. It's My Mr. Wonderful, and Jose Ortiz out there on a 2-length lead. Joe Smoking Gun is second. Alien Invasion moving up on the outside third. 4 lengths back to Fox Strike. Royal Power's got a lot of work to do, 7 lengths off the lead, and then Fair Archer, and they're coming to the top of the stretch, and it is My Mr. Wonderful in front with Alien Invasion bearing down. Joe Smoking Gun has dropped back to third, Fairpoint fourth, furlong to go. My Mr. Wonderful, Alien Invasion bearing down with every stride. Alien Invasion grabs the lead, a 16th out. My Mr. Wonderful is back into second, but battling on to the wire, and it's going to be Alien Invasion by a neck. My Mr. Wonderful was second, and then Joe Smoking Gun and Royal Power in 1 minute 7.12 seconds.
Alien Invasion, first time out for trainer Mike Maker with Tyler Gaffleone, gets the win here in the nightcap.
This horse took late money, and towards the end of the action was about 15-1, and a lot of people forget that Tyler Gaffleone at one time is the leading rider when it comes to wins in the nation, and is going to get a $26 winner to close off the card. My Mr. Wonderful got to the front end, looked like he was home, But the three's just going to grind away, and Mike Maker is going to get the job done. A 2-year-old gelding by Desert Party.
This is a tough beat, too, for my Mr. Wonderful. The 7 who ran a very good race for, as Maggie mentioned, one of the best first-time out trainers with 2-year-olds around here, and Rick Violet. Jose Ortiz on the 7, but in the end comes up a little bit short, but one to keep your eyes on next time.
Yeah, they were well clear, about 5 lengths clear of the 5. Joe's Smoking Gun. The 14, sort of little green, Royal Power, the son of Orb. I think a little bit longer will be better for him. Showed a little bit of late interest, but was never a threat to the winner.
So Alien Invasion at 11-1. Closes things out here on this Monday at Saratoga. 3-7-5-14. That Orb first-time starter winds up 4th in here, Royal Power.
And the 10 broke outward there if you look, but I don't think it impeded at all as you're taking a look at your winner, the 3. That will spice up your pick 5. And if you had this one in your pick 6, congratulations.
Yeah, well done. We had a $557,000 carryover in the pick 6. Heading into this Monday afternoon. So we'll be back with prices to wrap up here this finale. And we're going to take a look at more drama that we had in the first two grade 1s of the meet with the Diana and the Coaching Club American Oaks, and the difficult calls that stewards had to make in each of those races. In the end, Lady Eli, her victory held, and so did the win for Abel Tasman on Sunday in the Coaching Club American Oaks. Quick break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and horse of the year Up With the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Runner-up in the Grade 1 Manhattan and Shadwell Turf Mile, Ironicus ran 7 triple-digit buyers, including this score in the Fort Marcy Stakes. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back here on Saratoga Live, the nightcap here at Saratoga. It is Tyler Gaffalione on Alien Invasion for trainer Mike Maker.
Yeah, and here's a jockey, and Tyler Gaffalione has decided to stay down at Gulfstream Park. I think it's a sharp move. He's going to make this jump up to this level. Because, listen, with the Ortiz brothers and Johnny V, I think when Johnny V and some of the other guys sort of start working their way out, you're going to start seeing Tyler Gaffalione, like I said, the leading rider in the nation when it comes to wins. And congratulations to him. Mr. Butler, too, as well, the son of Desert Party out of the Eltish mare.
Well, he's a leading rider in the entire country in terms of wins. As Paul mentioned, he's standing by with Maggie right now.
Paul, I think you hit the nail on the head here with Tyler Gaffalione, and I guess you guys may have not known this. He's 100% here at Saratoga. First mount, you scratched in the stake, but you stuck around for this mount for Mike Maker, and you got the job done.
It was unfortunate that the filly scratched in the stake. I thought she had a good chance today. Ralph does a great job. But as far as this race, I mean, Mike had the horse ready 100%. Even in the warm-ups, he felt amazing, and in the race he sat out right behind them two pace setters, and when I asked him for a run, he just exploded.
Now, sometimes we get to see you in New York, but we were talking off camera. You're going to make some appearances more often here in Saratoga.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to be here on Mondays and Wednesdays on my dark days down there and try and make the best of our opportunities.
And as Paul said, you're the leading rider in the nation as far as wins. I mean, that has to give you confidence coming to a place like New York. Do you plan on the future and moving your tack here?
Oh, absolutely, but I owe it all to my agent. He does a great job, and the trainers for giving me the opportunity, and we've just been lucky so far, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Well, your agent, Matt Musiker, he knows how to win races here in New York, that's for sure. Tyler, welcome to the spa, and job well done.
Thank you so much.
Greg?
On the board at Saratoga, and that young man with a very bright future ahead of him.
The thing about him is he's a solid turf rider. You can ride, listen, not everybody can ride a racehorse, but when you're at an elite level, you got to win at all different surfaces. He's an elite rider on the turf. And the other thing is he's been riding first call basically in Florida for Pletcher. I know it's been Todd's second string down there, but when he comes up here, he's going to get some solid mounts.
Let's take a look at the late pick 5 follow-up. It started with an odds-on favorite in Covenant. Some form there with Sugar Queen as well. And the biggest fireworks coming here in the nightcap, but you got a nice price there with Furiously Kissed, too. And that was a very difficult 7th race.
Yeah, the 7th race, Furiously Kissed. You got to give it to Gabby and Andy. They came both with that horse and hit that exact. Alien Invasion, you know, the last race was really, hey, you got to pick one of the first-time starters to win. If you're able to get that, you were rewarded a little under $17,000 in the pick 6, $2,400 in the pick 5. Not bad considering the first double was like $12 to start it.
Another great day of action here at Saratoga. Brief respite for a day, and then it's back to work on Wednesday. But we had an incredible weekend with all kinds of drama in the two big races, the Grade 1s. First of which was the Diana Lady Eli. As we take a look here at these lanes and coming over a little bit on Kidura and those yellow silks in between horses and making things really tight on Antono down on the inside on the rail.
Yeah, 3 great fillies here. Lady Eli far left, Kidura in the middle, and Antono and Javier Castellano just sitting there late in the stretch. The stewards looked at it a lot longer than we thought, and we thought, okay, are they going to make a change here or not? They decided not.
Yeah, maybe a call that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sunday in the Coaching Club American Oaks, Mike Smith said it was just good old-fashioned race riding as he tries to intimidate a late down on the inside and got very, very close here. But in the end, this result would stand as well.
Well, the Hall of Famer Mike Smith just putting a little Jersey squeeze on Jose Ortiz and gets the job done for Hall of Fame Bob Baffert after a horrible afternoon in Del Mar, California, able to turn the tables with Abel Tasman here at the spa.
Well, it could be a very fine line in what constitutes a horse being taken down. As Mike Smith said, there is no rule against making things tight. But how tight is too tight? Well, that's just one of the many judgment calls that the stewards have to make when there is an inquiry or objection. They have a very difficult job, one of the most difficult here on the racetrack. Here's another edition of I Am with the Stewards.
I am Braulio Baeza Jr. and I am the matter steward. Steward's job is to referee the sport and make sure the betting public has a fair shake. Our main job is to watch the races, So make sure there's no infractions on any of the races. There's 3 stewards in New York. One belongs to the Jockey Club, which is Jimmy Edwards. The stage steward is Steve Lewandowski, and I am the NYRA steward. So New York is a little unique, where it has 3 different entities for the stewards. 2 of us watch the races live from the window, and one of us records it, watches on multiple screens. The stage steward shuts off the betting. We have a pretty good system here in New York right now. It's 6 live shots, and they all run simultaneously. So on the bottom level, we have what we call a 2-shot, which is shot from behind. The middle shot is a roving head-on, so it's constantly giving us a head-on. And then we have the pan shot right to the right. Okay, so sometimes the head-on won't give you depth, so you look at the pan to see how far he is or if he's clear not to come over. We're looking for any kinds of infractions: intimidation, excessive use of the whip, anything cutting off or shutting off. So if people don't maintain a straight course, there's an infraction. There's 3 different kinds of objections or claims of foul. The trainer can lodge a claim of foul, the jockey can lodge a claim of foul, or a steward's inquiry. After the race is official, we watch the replays, and then we go back and we'll call when the jockey's up on a direct line. If we need to speak to him for an infraction, and we'll speak to them, let them give their explanation. Then we'll review the movie again, and we'll make our decision.
The stewards have disqualified number 2 Power Nap from 1st to 3rd for interference with number 1 Chamois in the stretch. Until
we decide that the race is official and there's no infractions, the race does not go official.
And it's official.
Yeah, we're going off our eyes and the experience. A lot of experience in the stand right now. Jimmy Edwards used to be a jockey. Steve Lewandowski's been there for 30 years, and I pretty much run the gamut, front side and back side. Of course, my dad was a jockey, so I've watched racing since I was a kid with my dad, and it's just the best part.
1, 2, 3, 4, good number.
Well, it's a difficult position they're in because no matter what decision they make, someone's not going to like them.
No, it is really true. They are truly our umpires or our referees in our sport, but I think they're the toughest of those because they're at a rule book where it's sort of against them a little bit. There's no common rule book.
Well, here's what's trending. You saw that with Abel Tasman. Gutsy win in the Coaching Club American Oaks. We'll see if she does come back for the Alabama. Bob Afford said if she's doing really well, they would think about coming back, but she's traveled a lot already. And Ricardo Santana Jr., thank you, God, for blessing me with a 3-win day at Saratoga. His average payoff, he's got 5 wins. 2 came on Friday, 3 on Sunday. $22.80.
Pretty cool stuff for Ricardo Santana, an up-and-coming jockey like Tyler Gaffalone. And how about the Big A weighing in? I talked to him after the races yesterday, and he was telling me the grandstand were all saying, what is Mike Smith doing down the backstretch with Abel Tasman? But he got the job done.
Yes, he did. That was a gutsy ride on his part for sure. A little intimidation, and it worked out. Remember, get social with us. You saw our Twitter handles there, and our question to everyone out there, if she does come back, Abel Tasman, is she your Alabama winner? Bill Mott has already said elate. She's coming on back to the Alabama.
And I think Mr. Baffert is about set to leave Abel Tasman here for the Alabama as well.
All right. She's done a lot of traveling. Already 3 times she's gone cross-country.
I think she's coming back.
All right, we'll see. It'd be fantastic
if
she did. We hope you enjoyed our Monday coverage, the first Monday of the meet. Tuesday off, and then we'll see you back on Wednesday. It was Miss Ella for Graham Motion, getting the better of Fairpoint one more time, just like she did in the Buffalo Trace. Franklin County, Graham Motion, Joel Rosario with a multiple win afternoon for Jack Swain, and a tremendous weekend of action. Paul LaDuca, Andy Yearling, Gabby Gaudette, Maggie Wolfendale. I'm Greg Wolf. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Superior results. Success starts at Saratoga, the #1 ranked yearling sale in North America.
ECLIPSE award-winning Songbird was bought at Saratoga Pheasant Tipton. Where will you be this August?
ECLIPSE champion Stellar Wind is a Fasig Tipton Saratoga grad. Where will you be this August?
The Fasig Tipton Saratoga sale, August 7th and 8th. Where will you be?
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.